No offense, but your brain is a terrible place to keep your big idea. It belongs in the world, but you know that already. You have a calling, a voice that says, this is what I'm meant to do. Create the website your big idea deserves with Wix. Make it your own with top-to-bottom customization, AI to help realize your vision, and built-in business tools to turn your daydream into your dream job. Wix supports every stage of the business journey except one. Your decision to begin. Ready? Go to Wix.com.
Welcome to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Ho ho! Welcome to this month in German, Swiss, and Austrian startups for December 2024. And I already make Chris laugh. Hey, how you doing there in New York?
I'm doing well. The most Christmassy I got is this sweater, but you're succeeding.
Yes, I got an ugly Christmas weather and a Santa hat here for everybody who's just listening to that. By the way, listening, we will get later to it, but we surpassed already the 2.3 million downloads for 2024, so we are doing good. As you already heard, this is our December news wrap up with vital news from the startup and tech entrepreneurship scene in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Our news cut today is December 17th. As always, all news not included here will be included in our next news wrap up. The news cycle is picking up considerably. In October, we plowed through around 20 pages of GSA startup news we had collected since the last news. In November, we had 36, and now it's 18 pages for only around 3 weeks. Fair to say, activity is picking up. We needed to cut it seriously to have like really brief news and not having you here for hours. So let's hope it finds you like it. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for all of you. We are steadily adjusting our approach here. Now we mention more frequently the source where we got the news from and a bit more about the news itself. Let us know how you like it. That said, let's plow through more than 100 news pieces for these news. And I think Chris will, as always, take the highlights in New York.
Yes, and even the highlights are long today. So we saw that December really showcased an impressive momentum across the German startup ecosystem. For example, Black Forest Lab reportedly was hitting a $1 billion valuation, and Upvest raised Germany's largest fintech round of the year with more than 100 million euros. On the green tech front, Focused Energy secured 2.5 million euros for nuclear fusion innovation, while Hessen startups advanced a groundbreaking CO2 to bioplastic solution. The Dach startup ecosystem, Dach being the German equivalent for Deutschland, Österreich, Schweiz of GSA, the Dach startup ecosystem also saw major e-commerce moves with Zalando acquiring About You, solidifying the market leadership in Germany. Zalando probably being a German version of Zippos, probably, if you want to compare. From AI adoption in Germany to record-breaking VC mega rounds for European AI startups, innovation remains a core driver across the region, with small and medium enterprises steadily embracing digital transformation. Key industries we see are fintech, green tech, robotics, AI. Those are standing out, making the month as a vibrant finale for the year. In total, we covered 1.5 billion euros, more than actually, in startup fundings across Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, highlighting probably, as you said, like a rather optimistic end of the year and resilience and investor confidence in emergent technologies and sustainable solutions. New VC funds raised include Elston Capital's 175 million euros and Fly Ventures' 80 million euro deep tech fund, signaling growing national interest in German fintech startups and, again, AI-powered innovation, buzzword of the year maybe. Notable deals include Anybotics, 57 million euro funding, Woodspace's 8-figure investment, and Berlin-based CarbMe securing 20 million euros for carbon management solutions. And a little note on the current uncertain environment, though. Just Yesterday, Chancellor Olaf Scholz took the first step to pave the way for new elections in February 2025. So those are snap elections, which are an issue since there will be no debt-funded boosting of the economy anymore. It's one of the hugest disputes is how to get to a balanced budget or whether Germany should invest more in future-oriented technologies. There might not be any tax cuts or any larger political initiatives until the new government is in power, which may be the case in March or April 2025 if we are optimistic, maybe even a bit later. We see the first effects of this, for example, on the Ifo Business Climate Index that we will be talking about a bit more in depth later on. So let's see how this all plays out for the overall economy and startups, especially. Let's talk startups, but first let's talk schedule.
Yes, exactly. Christmas is approaching. Expect our last episode of 2024 to drop on Friday, December 20th. Our legendary fintech review, which is, by the way, already recorded and right now in editing. We will be back with the next regular startup interview on January 9th. Also already recorded and in editing. And our next news will drop on January 30th. Get used to the 25 at the end. Business in Germany around the holidays. Expect most companies to work only with a skeleton staff between December 23rd and January 7th, at least. They also will be quite busy with preparing their annual accounts. December 24th, most companies will either be completely closed or, like grocery stores, only open until 2 in the afternoon, 1400 hours max. December 25th and 26th are public holidays across Germany, and the most southern states here in Germany, Baden-Württemberg and Bayern, they start the new year off pretty well because January 6th is also a public holiday there. So most people will start working around January 7th again. The video and audio podcast will go live on December 19th. You can also always turn into our internet radio station 24/7 startup.radio and get your content right to your inbox, startupradio.substack.com, where we also publish now exclusive content covering the German startup scene. All other channels are to be found on the link tree. And for the last time, for very, very long cooperation, thank you very much, our enablers. This recording is supported by Hessen Trade and Invest and the Enterprise Europe Network. Really sorry to see them go, but it's public money, and after a few years, you just have to end the contract for EU reasons. We also have our partner Modern IQs, which can help you write at least 2 SEO pieces AI assisted every month. You can watch the video how to do that here as well. And Chris, now we get to the top news this month, right?
Yes, and there we have rather surprising news about a company in Karlsruhe called Black Forest Lab. It's one of Germany's leading AI startups, and it has reportedly already reached a 1 billion valuation as its technologies gain traction globally, which is rather surprising because the company is still really young. The time frame that is referenced in the article in our show notes is it's only 4 months old, but it has gotten so big because of interest through Elon Musk or of Elon Musk. He's leveraging their innovations and therefore has added fuel to their meteoric rise, one can say. The company is working on AI-powered imaging, and that is used from Musk's AI model Grok. So that report was was published in Welt, which is one of Germany's largest publishers. It should be rather substantiated. And so, I mean, I guess we're basically on the way that Karlsruhe rivals Silicon Valley, obviously, as they all say.
It would be, by the way, it would be very great to have like a third startup hub of European rank here in Karlsruhe. It would be just great.
And what Karlsruhe actually does really, really well, there's KIT. So there's a big engineering and a big engineering university that also has quite good entrepreneurial initiatives going on for years.
Karlsruhe Institute for Technology. Sorry, here you go, Chris.
Germany's economic minister Robert Habeck, also running for chancellor for the Green Party, remains optimistic about Northvolt's 600 million euros loan despite production delays. The Swedish battery startup's massive factory in Schleswig-Holstein is a key bet of all of the whole of the European Union for their green energy push. But for now, the government is keeping its patient and the checkbook open, even though, as there's probably always the case with such new big developments, they are a bit behind schedule.
Yes, plus one should not forget that Northvolt filed for insolvency, which we reported last month. So it's very, very much unclear how much money is there invested and lost.
And the whole case is a good example for an overall discussion in Germany about the energy transformation and the question of how much government should subsidize and help with those changes. Deutsche Startups.io writes about Upvest, Germany's largest fintech round of 2024. That is 100 million euros to expand its API-powered investment infrastructure, supported by heavyweights like Michael Bloomberg. Upset is set to redefine Europe's fintech ecosystem, so probably also another German unicorn in the making. In Menninger magazine, one of the most renowned business titles. And we also have a blog post about Upvest on our own website. In Menninger magazine, one of Germany's most renowned business titles, we see a report about WeFox's survival deal. It's an insurtech unicorn in Germany, which secured a lifeline, but the terms were reportedly harsh, requiring significant concessions from existing shareholders. It's a Berlin-based startup that has struggled to balance its valuation with profitability. Just in general, highlighting problems for the European insurtech scene. Handelsblatt, a business daily in Germany, wrote about Zalando, and many other news titles wrote about Zalando too, since Zalando is really, really big in Germany and probably one of the most relevant Amazon competitors, at least when it comes to clothing and shoes. And Zalando acquires About You from the Otto Group, one of the most traditional German home shopping catalog providers over decades. They are consolidating its position as Europe's leading fashion e-commerce giant with that. And that is, they in that case is Zalando. The deal marks a significant shift in the retail sector as Zalando aims to expand its market share and strengthen profitability. Kapital, another renowned German media title, writes about Google's investment in User-Centrics. And User-Centrics is a Munich-based company, a startup specializing in consent management solution for GDPR compliance. The investment now signals confidence in the growing need for privacy solutions in the digital space. So maybe Google is playing a bit nicer, at least for now, when it comes to data and data security. And that's a little overview of some of the most important top stories.
Housekeeping and time to brag. Simply put, 2024 was a smashing success for us. For the first time, we had more than 2.3 million downloads in a single year. We may even reach 2.5 until the end of the year. There is now also a paid option for our blog on Substack, where we got where we go into details about current events like UNSA, KKR's failed attempt to buy and build, as well as German semiconductor subsidies, or the impact of Northvolt insolvency on domestic politics. Also, we follow up on what Chris already mentioned in the highlights. A former interview guest of our CO2 BioClean, Invest in Hessen fermentation unit converts CO2 in bioplastics. A cutting-edge fermentation unit in Hessen is transforming CO2 into biodegradable plastics, offering a scalable solution for carbon reduction. The innovation marks a significant milestone in sustainable manufacturing. You can learn more in our interview and, of course, in the link. And there is, of course, always interest in working with us. Go down here in the show notes or reach out to us at Startuprad.io. As we said, our Substack, or you can find all options to follow us on Linktree. Chris, I hand the ecosystem over to you.
Yes, so this is where we zoom in from some of the most general news about startups and the entrepreneurial scene to some of the most specific German news. So let's start with a worldwide worldwide view, TechCrunch writes about defense tech. Led by Anduril, defense tech startups secured an unprecedented funding in 2024, highlighting a surge in investor interest for security and military innovations. This funding boom underscores the growing intersection of advanced tech and national defense. Startups in that sector are now armed with cash. Little wordplay here. But I mean, it's also a rather serious topic because the situations in the Middle East and in the Ukraine with the Russian war definitely contributed to the rise in funding in this sector. Crunchbase writes about biotech and healthcare funding surges. They have also seen a significant rise in funding driven by demand for innovative solutions in AI-driven diagnostics, in therapies, and digital health. And startups across Europe and North America are leading this funding resurgence. Healthy investments equal healthier returns. Another wordplay. In Europe, we see an article from PitchBook about European AI VC mega rounds also surging. European AI startups are enjoying a surge of VC mega rounds as investor appetite grows for advanced AI technologies. There are countries like Germany and France leading the charge, with funding rounds often exceeding 100 million euros. And Europe's definitely having a seat at the table when it comes to AI solutions. But we also saw reports about AI startups often stumbling when scaling their enterprise go-to-market strategies. So yeah, as a whole, AI is used as a buzzword that very often does not have a lot of like practical solutions yet. But industry insiders suggest a mix of pilot programs, iterative sales approaches, and understanding enterprise decision-making timelines to crack the code. Startups like those headquartered in Munich and Berlin have particularly excelled in creating value-driven partnerships by aligning deeply with enterprising needs. So, winning big contracts isn't about AI buzzwords, as we said, but solving real problems, which is a hard truth for many founders. More about that you can read at speedinvest.com. Tech.eu writes about innovation during driving Europe's space industry. The European space startups are driving innovation with advancements in satellite technology, reusable launch systems, something we know also from SpaceX, from Elon Musk, and AI for space applications. An article in Tech.eu highlights how ESA, which is the European Space Administration, which is the European Space Agency, they back accelerators that are fostering a new wave of space entrepreneurship. So yeah, Europe seems on a rocket-fueled startup trajectory there. Sifted writes about European health tech and their funding trends, because we see that health tech startups across Europe have seen steady investor interest, focusing on areas like AI-powered diagnostics, telemedicine, and digital health platforms. Even though we see economic challenges in a couple of the biggest the biggest European economies, we see that the sector continues to attract funding, particularly in Switzerland and Germany. In Germany, though, we already talked about in the political arena, where Germany's main parties are galloping up for the snap election, which right now is planned for February 23rd, following the collapse of Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition. So he is a social democrat, only the fourth one of his party who ran the country so far. And fun fact, none of these four actually finished their terms as intended. So they all had snap elections or had other issues. The Conservatives, who are being led, the biggest opposition party right now, who are being led by Friedrich Merz, they propose tax cuts, lower electricity prices to spur growth. But also a lot of critics argue that their plans lack detailed funding. Meanwhile, the Social Democrats and the Greens are advocating to reform the so-called debt brake in Germany, basically meaning, okay, let's get more loans in order to invest in infrastructure and education. So we will also see that key campaign issues might be migration and the situation in the Ukraine. We already talked briefly about the IFO Institute's Business Climate Index. In December, it dropped. It fell again, and signaling a continued pessimism among businesses regarding the economic outlook. Challenges are rising energy costs, inflation, as I said, the political situation. And so, yeah, Germany's economic mood definitely needs a New Year's resolution, or at least a little like New Year's Eve pick-me-up drink, maybe. Tech EU writes about how the how EU Inc. Unveils a pan-European startup entity. The European Commission unveiled a blueprint for a new pan-European startup entity designed to streamline support for scaling startups. The initiative will include funding, mentorship, and regulatory harmonization across EU markets. And so the European Union startup world is also becoming a bit more of a union here. Support for female funders is a topic of Wirtschaft aktuell, and especially Germany there is extending funding programs in order to support female scientists transitioning into entrepreneurship. It's one of the few concerted efforts to close gender gaps in startup funding, especially in the STEM field here. FactoryNet is writing about AI adoption in Germany, and especially a new report that reveals that 1 in 5 companies in Germany has integrated AI solutions, marking significant progress in tech adoption. However, smaller firms still face barriers like lack of talent, implementation costs, and bigger companies are a bit further ahead. VC Magazine writes about Bavarian startups, which are set to benefit from a 750 million euro funding injection aimed at boosting innovation and growth in key sectors like AI, biotech, and energy tech. Bavaria also has a reputation for being one of the economic powerhouses of Germany. Maybe now they also become a European startup powerhouse. Handelsblatt writes about the German government easing financial market access because the German government has introduced reforms to simplify those or this access in order to attract more investments and support startups better. This time it's an initiative focusing on reducing red tape and boosting competitiveness for growth stage companies. We will see how the political Berlin is being able to keep the capital for the startup scene, especially also in the capital flowing. HTGF, the High-Tech Gründerfonds in Germany, has a new managing director, Achim Plum. It's probably Germany's most prominent early stage investor. And Plum's leadership will focus on strengthening the fund's role in scaling innovative startups across Europe. And last but not least, Handelsblatt writes about the stagnant investments in many startups, since Germany's startup ecosystem faces still considerable headwinds amid the economic and political uncertainty, prompting high-profile voices like Verena Pauster to call for stronger government support. The report highlights the need for systemic reforms to boost innovation. That was all I got about the ecosystem. Now let's look at specific spaces and places in Germany. Let's have a look at the hubs.
Yes, of course. As always, they're more in the order we found them than any other thing. Of course, Frankfurt Rhein-Main leads the charge again. 21X, a fintech startup focused on decentralized securities trading, secured its regulatory license, paving the way for its launch in Europe. The approval marks a milestone for decentralized finance adoption in regulated markets. Mannheim. Business Insider writes, Snox acquires Oceans Apart. Mannheim-based Snox, an e-commerce brand specializing in socks and apparel, has acquired insolvent competitor Oceans Apart. The deal reflects Snox's aggressive growth strategy as it strengthens its market positions amid retail consolidation. Borken in Nordrhein-Westfalen. DeskNow files for insolvency. Reken-based startup DeskNow, a provider of flexible workspace booking solution, has entered insolvency proceedings despite initial traction during the remote work boom. Financial difficulties and market saturation has taken their toll. DeskNow joins the Pivot or Parish Club for startups. Aachen, the next web writes, Fiber Code secures 20 million for advanced fibers. A spin-out focus on advanced material raised 20 million to accelerate the production of its high-performance fibers for aerospace and spacecraft. The startup aims to revolutionize lightweight solution in advanced engineering industries. Lübeck, LN, Lübecker Nachrichten, I do believe, LN Online, Pure Foods insolvency situation. Lübeck startup Pure Food, known as Specialized Nutrition Solutions, is navigating insolvency under court supervision despite financial troubles. Discussions are ongoing to restructure and save the business. A spoon of hope may it have to be curved for this struggling food tech. Chris, you want to take Austria?
Yeah, let's go further south. In Austria, we see that the Austrian software startup Firestart has solved for insolvency following the challenges of repaying a COVID-19 relief loan. Firestart had strong early growth, but market pressures and repayment issues then led to financial struggles. We also see that UB files for insolvency. It's a B-Tech startup. And they had challenges in scaling its precision beekeeping solutions. So yeah, even agri-tech startups relying on niche innovations are struggling a bit here. And we also see that Woodspace raises an 8-figure investment. So there's happier news on that side. It's a prop tech startup, and they are going to expand its sustainable timber construction solutions. So it's also very nature driven. Austrian startup scene this month is all about nature. The investment will help the company meet rising demand for eco-friendly building alternatives. Moving on to the west of Austria, in Switzerland, we see that this month we have no giant news there. We have several big fundings in Switzerland in our upcoming section further down, though. But that allows us now to look for VC news and new funds in case you're looking for money. It's only a small selection. Let me quickly run through it. Alston Capital, the venture capital firm funded by billionaire Carsten Maschmeyer, has successfully raised 175 million euros for its third fund. Focus remains on European tech startups with a particular emphasis on scalable business models in fintech and health tech. Berlin-based VC firm Fly Ventures announced 80 million euros for a fund targeting technical founders building deep tech solutions. The fund reflects a growing appetite for tech-heavy, high-risk investments in Europe. So we see that Fly Ventures isn't just investing. They are soaring into the deep tech frontier. Sorry, I kept a couple of the jokes to myself for the other ones. But yeah, a prominent German VC firm has brought founders from SumUp and Felix, Felyx, on board as partners to strengthen its leadership team. This move highlights a growing trend of VCs incorporating operational expertise to support for portfolio startups more effectively. We see that the NATO Innovation Fund has outlined its strategy for 2025. They're going to focus on investments in defense and dual-use technologies, which probably isn't too much of a surprise given what NATO does. The initiative will support deep tech startups across Europe to bolster national security innovation. An ousted CEO is plotting a return to the company they founded and leveraging shareholder support to reclaim leadership. That is basically the story of Grover, a story, that reflects common founder-investor conflicts at startup scale. So we will see how that comeback is going to come to pass. Yahoo Finance has a bit more about that in our show notes. And Berlin-based travel startup Omio reported over 30% growth in 2024, achieving profitability after years of scaling. It's all due to strong demand for its cross-border travel booking platform. And so, we're happy that we have a success story here. Moving on to a couple of industries now. Green tech first.
Yes, green tech. We do have some particular news here. There was an article in Gründerszene attacking Unicorn 1,5. The data they used appeared to have been just a piece of the overall information. So Philipp Schröder, the founder of Unicorn 1,5 Grad, hits Bob back publicly on LinkedIn. Philipp Schröder highlights news via Business Insider from two reporters showcasing that they simply misunderstood the internal documents they have obtained. Also, they did not take into consideration the current market environment. Learn more on his link directly. A new section, biotech news, to get like all the big fundings in there, especially concerning Switzerland. Chimeo signs $300 million agreement. The Swiss biotech startup Chimeo has signed a $300 million partnership with Japanese pharma giant to advance a cell therapy technology. FinSMEs writes about Noema Pharma extend its Series B to $147 million to accelerate the development of treatments for central nervous system disorders. Startup Tika. That news is double. Sorry, Madu, we take this out. Transcript. Bayer opens co-lab incubator in Berlin. Bayer, the large pharma and I would say chemical company, has launched Co-Lab Berlin, a new biotech incubator designed to accelerate startups developing health and life science innovations. The initiative underscores Berlin's growing status as a hub for biotech entrepreneurship, a shot of innovation straight into the veins of the startup scene. Handelsblatt, Germany's top biotech startups. Germany's biotech sector is buzzing with potential, featuring 5 startups identified as major hopes for investors. The list includes companies tackling healthcare, diagnostic, and biotech manufacturing. Biotech isn't just science, it's serious business. Let's go a little bit into the fintech news. BTC Echo. Bitpanda launches trading platform for pros. Austrian fintech Bitpanda has unveiled a new platform tailored for professional crypto traders, offering advanced features and tools. Finance Forward. Stringman Twin Back. Again. Finance Forward. Stringman Twins Back Fintech. The Strungmann twins, famous for backing biotech, are now turning their attention to fintech investments, boosting several prominent German startups. Their involvement highlights growing institutional confidence in fintech innovation. When billionaires bet on fintech, everyone should pay attention. Plus, we have them on the radar since at least 2020. If you've been following our blog back then, we had a blog post about the only self-made twin billionaires in the world who have been backing a then barely known company called Biotech to prepare them for the Nasdaq IPO. Finance Forward, the biggest fintech flops. A roundup of recent fintech flops reveals challenges facing even the most promising startup, from regulatory hurdles to scalability issues. The failures offer valuable lessons on product market fit and funding reliance in turbulent markets. Finanzszene. Scalable Capital launches its own exchange. Scalable Capital, a German fintech leader, has launched its own exchange in partnership with Deutsche Bank to simplify investing for retail clients. The move aims to increase market access while reducing trading costs. Raisin is unicorn again. After a correction where I do believe, blogged about it, the valuation of holding of investors raising lost its unicorn status. So it was just a booking correction of one of the holdings for one investor that we're aware of. But after secondary transaction just recently, it is now valued at above $2 billion. Liquid launches new investment product. Wealth management fintech Liquid has unveiled a new investment vehicle aimed at high net worth individuals. The ELTIF product offers access to private equity and alternative assets, strengthening Liquid's value proposition in Europe's wealth management market. Finanzszene: Smava sale nears completion. The fintech leader Smava reportedly in the final stages of being sold, with debates over realistic valuation dominating discussions. The deal reflects a cooling trend in fintech M&A, where buyers are pushing for lower valuations. Founders repurchase Ride. The original founders of Startup Ride have repurchased their company after earlier selling to investors. The move highlights founders-driven turnaround as a growing trend in the European startup ecosystem. Whew, that was already a lot. Let's go a little bit into the general news, but I do believe that is something where Chris could take over and then I'll be joining him again.
Let's do it. So, Manager Magazine writes about the Munich-based flying taxi startup Lilium. We also talked a lot about it. And the fact that Lilium is facing a class action lawsuit in the US over allegations of misleading investors regarding its financial performance and timelines. The legal challenges add pressure to the already struggling company there. Germany's transport minister Volker Wissing, now without a party since the coalition broke apart, and he decided not to stay with the Liberal Party, the business-friendly party. He announced plans for air taxi test tracks to launch by 2026, supporting innovations in urban mobility. The initiative aims to position Germany as a leader in next-generation transport solutions. Auto1 Group, Europe's leading online car marketplace, has officially entered Germany's MDAX index. So that is equivalent to what in the US? I have no idea. It's a medium-sized company.
Mid-cap index.
Mid-cap index, signaling investor confidence in its long-term growth. The Berlin-based company's rise highlights the demand for digital automotive platforms. More about that is at stocks.com and Startuprad.io, which is our site. Then Delivery Hero's sale of Talabat was priced at the upper end of expectations, signaling strong investor demand for food delivery assets. It boosts Delivery Hero's liquidity as it continues focusing on core growth markets. So yeah, it's still a very active startup industry there. Ex-Sono Motors CEO Lauren Hahn launched AllRide, a new electric mobility solution aiming to tackle Europe's urban transport challenges. He's expected to leverage lessons from Sono there, and the Munich-based startup focuses on affordable, sustainable e-mobility options. ESA and Unternehmertum, and TUM being the Technical University of Munich, have partnered to launch Europe's first scale-up accelerator program for space startups. The initiative focuses on helping scale-ups bring advanced space technologies to market faster. Staffbase co-founder Martin Böhringer confirmed the company is exploring an IPO aiming to capitalize on strong demand for internal communication software. It's a Chemnitz-based unicorn that has seen rapid growth and positioning itself as one of the global leaders in employee engagement tools.
ESUT, Helsing launches smart combat drone HX2 Karma. German defense startup Helsing has officially unveiled the HX2 Karma, an intelligence combat drone designed for advanced military operations. Trending topics: NXRT moves into military tech. Based in Austria, they're pivoting into military technology, planning new solutions for defense-related training applications in 2025. Handelsblatt, former SAP employees launch rival startup. They are developing a direct competitor to SAP's market-leading enterprise software, focusing on improved usability and speed. The startup aims to challenge SAP's dominance by offering a more agile alternative for business. Also Handelsblatt, OneFootball's strategy shift. Berlin-based OneFootball is overhauling its business model to achieve profitability, focusing on paid features and partnerships. The football-centric app aims to recover from recent losses by prioritizing sustainable revenue streams. OneFootball may finally get back to the pitch. IT Notes. Markt.de acquires DHD24. Germany's classified market sees further consolidation as Market.de acquires competitor DHD24.com. The acquisition strengthens Markt.de's leadership in the growing digital classified segment. Deutsche Bahn and Flixtrain performed poorly in EU rankings. Deutsche Bahn and Flixtrain scored poorly in European comparison of rail service quality and efficiency. High ticket pricing, delays, and inconsistent service contributed to the low rankings. Finance Forward. Unser CEO discusses restructuring. Unser CEO Robert Bünnenig highlighted the company's turnaround strategy, emphasizing operational efficiency and streamlining product focus. The fintech is positioning itself to regain trust and market share after facing significant headwinds. From fintech trouble to fintech triumph, we will see. Our take on the story where we talk about Unser, which is basically KKR's failed buy and build strategy in the payment space. Let's go a little bit into creative destruction before we are done for the day. Investment check. CASC, C-A-S-C, files for insolvency. A startup in Germany's industrial sector has filed for insolvency amidst liquidity issues. Berliner Zeitung. OneMotion's find investor post-insolvency. Berlin-based cargo bike startup OneMotion has successfully found a new investor following its insolvency. E-Fahrer, German e-bike startup files for insolvency. A promising e-bike startup has filed for insolvency despite unveiling a new model just weeks prior. Market saturation, production cost, and reduced consumer demand are cited as key reasons. And Chris, we want to end today and on a high note with the access, right?
Yes, and here we have a lot going on this month. The news here and their total value show how resilient the startup scene is. So keep in mind, this is only a small selection. We only included selected fundraising above 10 million euros, Swiss francs, or US dollars. So let me give you a couple of these successful fundraisings and exits that we found. German startup Gigs, a telecommunications platform, raised 73 million euros in funding to scale its telecom as a service model. They're enabling companies to offer their own branded mobile plans. Swiss robotics startups Anybotics, raised 57 million euros to expand operations and advance its autonomous robot solutions, particularly targeting industrial and inspection use cases. And they're aiming at global growth there. Berlin-based Coach Hub, a digital coaching platform, secured 40 million euros in financing from HSBC Innovation Banking UK to fuel its global expansion. The investment reflects a booming demand for digital learning and professional development tools. Berlin-based Coro, an e-commerce startup specializing in healthy foods, secured 35 million euros in Series C funding. They are going to expand its product range with the money and growing their European presence. Munich-based Planet A Foods, a creator of a sustainable cocoa alternative, raised $30 million to scale production and meet rising demand. So there we also see that there might be a broader trend towards food innovation. MoneyCap writes about Lion, a clean energy startup that secured $25 million in a Series A funding to accelerate its innovative technology development. The investment will fund here expansion into European and global markets and targeting sustainable energy adoption. The Baller League, which is a European sports startup, secured $25 million to expand its franchise model into the UK and US market. Here we see that there is a worldwide growing interest in alternative sports leagues. Swiss-based Embotech, an autonomous driving startups for logistics, raised 23.5 million Swiss francs, an investment that will be focused on enhancing efficiency in industrial logistics, and they will develop scalable solutions for self-driving systems with the money. Berlin-based CarbMe, we already talked about it in the highlights a bit. It's a carbon management platform. They raised 20 million euros in Series A funding to drive AI-powered innovation in emissions reduction. And a funding that reflects increased demand for enterprise solutions addressing ESG requirements. Munich-based Apaleo, a property management software as a service provider, raised 20 million euros to fuel its growth across European hospitality markets. That startup is focusing on enabling hoteliers to streamline operations via API-powered tech. German-based Neoplus Med raised 18 million euros to advance its medical technology, particularly in plasma-based therapies, money that will be used to accelerate product development and clinical trials. And Munich-based Predium raised 13 million euros to continue developing its ESG-focused property platform. Zurich-based Relay, RELAI, a Bitcoin-focused startup, secured $12 million in a Series E funding to drive European expansion. Relay is working on simplifying Bitcoin investing, and that funding emphasizes the growing popularity of Bitcoin services in Europe. Swiss-based Brighty, a fintech startup offering digital financial solutions, raised $10 million to expand its offering and scale operations, highlighting a growing investor appetite for fintech innovation, particularly in Europe. Spot My Energy, last but not least, reports a 10.5 million euro funding round within the energy tech space, a space that is always looking for sustainable innovations. Startups tackling energy efficiency and carbon management are seeing strong investor interest. Spot My Energy is proving that. And that leaves us with some mergers and acquisitions news.
Yes, thank you. HTGF Cloud Software Group acquires Device Trust, the portfolio company backed by high-tech Gründerfonds. The deal showcases strong exit opportunities for German enterprise security startups. TechCrunch, Miracle, Mirakl, acquires AdSpurt, a startup specializing in ad optimization technology. The acquisition aims to enhance Miracle's marketplace ecosystem by integrating AI-driven advertising tools when marketplaces meet smarter ads. Finance Forward, Paquato acquires EasyBill, a German invoicing software providing to expand its e-commerce service ecosystem. The move consolidates Paquato's strategy of offering end-to-end tools for online businesses. Nomadia acquires German Coordinate. Yeah, a French-based Nomadia has acquired German company Coordinate, expanding its geographical footprint and capabilities in workforce management solutions. Chris, that was a lot, but I do believe that's a wrap.
It was a lot, and it was a wrap for December. It also was a wrap for 2024. Challenging times ahead. Stay warm. I don't know what else to say. And stay confident, I would say.
Yes, and everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, enjoy the holidays, get some energy. The new year will not get easier.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.
It's time to turn your daydream into your dream job. Wix gives you the power to turn your passion into a moneymaker. with a website that fits your unique vision and drives you towards your goals. Let your ideas flow with AI tools that guide you, but give you full control and flexibility. Manage your business from one dashboard and keep it growing with built-in marketing features. Get everything you need to turn your part-time passion into a full-time business. Go to Wix.com.